what do we have today? I think this might be one of the most hype bingo matches we've ever had. Not to hype it up a little too much, but I think this might be one for the record books.
I'm inclined to agree. Uh, I'm very excited for this matchup for sure. Tio, one of the fastest players, period, at
Yes.
speedrunning Celeste. Jax, one of the most well-established bingo players in the community.
Yeah, so I did some background research on these players, got some stats. Out
Oh,
of the
really?
last four expert bingo tournaments, Jax has won half of them, and one of them he didn't even play in. So that's a 66% win rate for winning entire tournaments. That is a force to be reckoned with for sure. We can definitely see if Jax can keep that, get to 75% win rate of all tournaments. Meanwhile, Tio's got pretty good stats too. Won the Benny percent battle, won the 4B tournament, obviously more important than any of the other wins. I think Tio also won the advanced masked bingo binge, so Tio's got his fair share of wins as well.
Absolutely. And if Jax wants to keep up that winning record, he's got some tough sledding ahead of him because,
Definitely.
as some of you may know, this is a double elimination bracket, and this is our grand finals. So Jax coming from the lower bracket means that he has to win a best out of three just to reset the bracket and potentially get another shot at actually claiming the title.
And you know who it was who knocked Jax into that bottom bracket?
Why don't you remind everyone?
None other than Tio himself, possibly the Kingslayer that could take Jax out, ruin that ruin that incredible record that we've seen from Jax. And yeah, right there, round two, LM Jax Tio. Tio took a solid win, rode his way all the way to grand finals, whereas Jax got the loser brackets run of a very impressive three straight wins against Vertil and Raki. And me. I'm there too. The losers bracket run from Jax has been impressive. Let's see if we can get some revenge out here.
I hope so, mostly just because we want to see more bingo, because we could have anywhere from 2 to 6 matches today.
Yeah. I think that more bingo is always better. I'm not gonna play favorites except for this first set. I'm rooting for Jax until it gets to the bracket reset, and then it's anyone whoever wins, you know.
Yeah, I think yesterday we kind of saw what makes Jax so formidable because in that best of three set versus Rocky, the mid to late game routing was just so strong. He was always where he needed to be. Um,
Definitely.
and that's the kind of thing you need to beat a player like Tio.
Yeah, I think they both have their strengths, and like, not that any of these players have weaknesses. They're both so well rounded that it's hard to call anything more than just a little bit less strong than their opponent. But I would say Jax gets a slight edge in routing, where Tio gets the slight edge in advantage, or just a execution, more or less, where Tio's got those like world record level times. Jax just has really high consistency at fast strats. Jax has like nearly impeccable routing. Tio's routing is pretty damn good too. So.
Yeah, I don't want to sell Tio short in any way. Both players have been very strong in all aspects of their game throughout this tournament.
Yeah,
I think
not.
Jax had a bit of a misfire on starting the file, so we're just gonna do a little reset and
Just
get
getting a
things
little too
going.
excited. It's okay. We would never have a controversy in our bingo finals. Oopsie. There we go. We're back. LMAO speed run on Tio's side. Tito fan 74 on Jax's side. It's nice. These runners are always friends. On the bingo board, maybe not so much, but outside of bingo, nobody
Even as
hates each
opponents,
other.
they can be supportive.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think we got a board now. We should be seeing the countdown very soon, and then we'll be
Yes.
getting off. Okay, interesting. I already see a new objective: 5 berries in 8A. I believe that is something added with a new gen. Something
Yeah, I
interesting
think
to see.
so. One of the goals of the update is to give core a little bit more love.
Yeah, I think I've seen reach the orb and heart of mountain, which is another interesting objective.
Yeah, I like that one.
I think core is always fun. It just adds a lot of like skill for bingo routing because you need to have those hearts to get into it, and then it's such like a big commitment. But there's good enough synergy in core. I think my favorite combo play is when you can combo a cassette or a heart objective with core blue heart or core cassette. Just one of those
Yeah,
niche interactions.
it's always just kind of sitting there
Yep.
at the end of the chapter, but oftentimes there's not quite enough reason to go that far into core.
Hmm.
But so let's look at what's going to happen early in this
Yeah,
game.
definitely. I think
Um,
why don't you start without dashing while the first objective, literally the first objective you can run into, I believe it might be a little too much time lost to go for, but you never know. These players can be unpredictable at times.
yeah,
Beyond that, Ridge has some stuff.
Ridge has some stuff. I see the blue heart. See Grabless start of 4A, berries and shrine. I'm
Yeah.
also seeing some incentive to get some berries along the way early. There's get a 1-up in 2 chapters as well as 10
Hmm.
and 3,
Yeah, those
and
those combo well enough.
just 50 berries sitting there as somewhat of a mid game or I guess slightly later berry objective.
Definitely. So yeah, I think if any players go for berries, they're probably going to want to pick up those 1-ups, so let's see what happens. Aside from 1-ups, we do have just some nice progress checks. Mirror Temple Cassette, all the stuff in 4A isn't too slow at all. There's some nice stuff right after Temple, like Grabless Lake. There's even some resort objectives that I don't see that many enough to verify going first pass, probably.
Yeah, there's the 2 mess orders, but obviously you can't do both at once.
Oh, I'd like to see you try.
So
Yeah.
it looks like both players are not doing start without dashing and not really getting much in the way of berries.
And that very much makes sense. They're pretty much just playing any percent. I understand at least grabbing these late crossing berries. If you want to have a slightly easier time to 10 and 3, just grab a couple quick berries.
Yep, we do see Jax has 4 at this point, which kind of works out because you can potentially go back for a 1-up and start and get up to 10.
So I believe the first objective we're likely going to see is Awake Without Dashing. Beyond that, I can't really see much else. And then some of the Ridge stuff. Also, shoutouts to the bot and chat. If anyone wants free followers, viewers, make sure to. And they're gone. Very well done.
Honestly, with how many sort of progress check objectives I'm seeing, I wouldn't even be shocked to see them skip Awake without dashing as well.
Yeah, there's an interesting counterplay there where if you know your opponent's faster in execution, or if you just want to get ahead to some later objectives, you can skip the Awake without dashing, get straight into Grabless 4A, maybe even win the blue heart depending on execution and all. So
Both players got the Bino in 2A. We see that there's use 8 binoculars, use 10 binoculars.
yeah, that'll be. I think Summit's probably one of the stronger ideas to get those binos, but there's not much else.
Well, there is
Not too much
6
else
binos in B sides, so that kind of incentivizes you to get them.
Yeah, maybe we see 4B first pass. No, there's not much reason for that.
Yeah, there's just too
On
much.
green.
There's too much else to go for.
Mhm.
Besides that objective, there's really not much that makes you want to go to a B side.
Yeah, there's no like overarching B-side objectives. There's not even that much heart incentive aside from maybe a core objective. There
Yeah,
is
we
blue
have
heart
3
objectives,
blue
though.
and 5 blue, but those can only be gotten in A sides.
Mhm. Yeah, so I wonder when blue hearts are going to start to be a priority with 2 objectives there. Maybe I would expect to not see it until after the initial progress rush is done.
Yeah, I think once it's sort of shaken out who's going to get those progress objectives, then maybe the other player will go back. We'll see.
And we have seen Tio take a little bit of a lead, both from Jax taking a few deaths, plus probably that slight execution advantage from Tio. It's about this entire post-intervention.
Tio is not
that
dashing
Tio
in
had.
Awake.
Yeah, I think that's totally understandable. I think if you're Jax, maybe you just don't even go for Awake, even if you don't see the tick yet.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And it does turn purple. Tio, I think is marked red on the interface, but on the board will be purple.
Yeah, and I think Jax oh no, Jax did start to go for the dashless, but the moment saw the tick, just continued to dash, which makes sense. Might lose a couple seconds, but it never hurts to start doing the dashless objective until you see the tick. So we will see Tio have another slight advantage into the Grabless 4A start. I wonder if Jax can skip Grabless 4A, knowing that he's behind, and use that to take up some...
Yep,
some
Jax did not
advantage.
turn on Grabless.
Makes sense. If you know
I
you're
like
behind in the
this.
objective, you kind of have to cut some corners to catch up again.
Yeah. It's just a concession that you have to make to be able to keep up when you're falling behind.
We'll see if it's enough. There's not too many places where grabbing, where like not grabbing loses time in 4A start. It's probably one of the easiest grabless checkpoints.
Yeah, Tio about a couple rooms ahead, and it does turn purple.
This might, for the heart race, might come down to if anyone can hit fast heart.
Although it looks like Jax died once or twice towards the end of start.
Still no tick for...
Jax getting the cassette.
Yeah, I guess if you are already already behind, you might as well spread out, try to make progress to 4 cassettes maybe.
Yeah, it's always tough to decide whether or not to get the 4A cassette because it's a long time to go back for, but it does also take you out of the way at a time when progress might be very crucial.
I do want to mention, Tio had a pretty rough time getting that Ridge Blue Heart. I almost wonder if Jack's just full sent for the Blue Heart. If he could have sniped it, but... Nah.
It's possible.
Okay, we do see a Jax quit out. I wonder... Maybe, okay, I think this is going back for 1A star without dashing. You've already lost a lot of objectives.
But no,
Or-
Jax is dashing.
Oh, maybe 1-ups, I believe. Try to get ahead on berries.
Interesting.
I kind of agree. I think like when you lose those early objectives, you kind of have to route horizontally instead of like vertically for what you were just going for the last minute, because now Tio's just gonna still be ahead, and you think Tio's gonna win everything else. So what can you do differently?
Yeah,
to
it's a
get
little
the other
awkward,
objectives?
but you definitely can't just follow Tio when you're behind in both progress and objectives. The good thing is Jax is very smooth with those 1-ups. It's basically just playing ARB.
Yeah. I think at this expert level, it's rare to see 1-up mistakes, which makes it even more costly when they happen. So, let's see if Jax can keep that good track record of the 1-ups. Meanwhile, Tio just still trucking along, grabbing a few of the fast cliff berries, which really makes sense. They're not a huge investment. Yeah, Tio grabbed practically 0 berries up until now. Very one-track mind, which I think kind of
That's
makes
fair.
sense. Yeah.
Going fast and just getting that progress seems to be working out well so far.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough spot for Jax. You kind of have to think very creatively to... I think at this point you kind of need to find some ways to lock your opponent out of important objectives, but when there's so much in like Temple and Post Summit, could be interesting. Or
Yeah,
post-summit.
we could see some B-side action to try and snipe those Bino objectives before Tio gets to Summit. It looks like Jax is trying to get towards 10 and 3 quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense. We got 10, we got 9 in City. And then we'll probably just see continuing to play through Ridge for those remaining. Oh, also grabbing 1A cassette makes sense. Might as well get the 4 cassettes since we've kind of had to work towards other
Surprised
objectives.
if Jax was going to go this route that he didn't grab 2A cassette while he was in there.
Yeah, I think if you're going back for that 1-up, then the 2A cassette would really help with getting that 4 cassettes objective, but who knows? Yeah, we're gonna see a few more berries for Jax here, it looks like.
Yep. This should be a quick finish of 10 and 3. I say
Meanwhile,
should be,
think
but
for Tio's side, we're probably looking at Mirror Temple cassette and then just play through 5B. Or I wonder if at that point Tio decides to backtrack and start going for some of these other objectives.
it's possible. It's also possible that Tio's just playing any percent for a little while.
Yeah. Jax really hasn't indicated a lot. With that 1 up in 2 chapters tick coming in when it has, it's like, what does that mean about my opponent? Not really much.
Yeah, definitely not much, and Jax just kind of has to hope that that lack of information can give him a chance to somehow steal some stuff.
Yeah. We'll see the All Berries and Shrine now from Jax, which I think at this point Jax is not planning on contesting progress if we're going for All Berries and Shrine.
Yeah, so presumably Jax won't really be able to contest Grabless Lake or most of the summit stuff.
Yeah, I think the Bino things, the Bino objectives will probably go to Tio, because if you can just get into Summit, then 8 and 10 take about 2 minutes maybe to play into 1,000 meters.
Yeah, but if Tio gets the Bino objectives and everything in Summit, that'll probably take them most of the way to 13.
Oh, interesting. Is Tio going for 5A Blue Heart?
It does look that way.
I can see it. maybe this
I
is
know-
a complete 5A play, which honestly is not bad.
I know Tio has been working on the Heart plus Cassette 5A run.
Yeah, Tio's 5A is impeccable, especially for those like Heart and Cassette strats. Just getting that key with the pause buffer is not an easy. Oh, another pause buffer strat does not work out this time. But yes, I think we might see 3 Blue Hearts be the next goal from both of these players if Tio's getting the 5A Blue. But now Jax is heading into 1A start without dashing. And I think this will combo very nicely into the City Blue afterwards, depending on what Jax decides.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's the quickest thing you can still get.
So I understand, I think this is what Jax has to be doing, but we'll have to wait and see if it's enough. Because if Tio goes straight for the 3 Blue Hearts right now, it's going to be a really tight race. Tio already has...
Tio has 4 and 5.
Yeah. So I think this is just going to go purple.
Yep. And
yeah, unfortunately
it
does. I think Jax kind of had to go for so many objectives all at once and kind of prioritize the 1A star without dashing, prioritize the Shrine Berries over getting that 3 Blue Hearts. I think maybe if you just grab the 4A Blue and then immediately go for Hearts, then again, you don't know which one's the most contested objective, so it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It feels like that was a pretty important one for Jax's chances of a comeback.
Yeah, because now Jax is even disadvantaged to 5 Blue, considering Tio got a really slow Blue Heart. Still has a couple fast ones remaining.
Yeah, Tio still has 1A available. Okay.
Yeah, I think the play for Tio, I kind of like the 3 Blue because you can get to that get to Grabless Lake, get 6A Heart as your fast 4th Heart, and then 1A remaining is easy 5 Hearts. So
Yeah, this is probably going to work out really well. And we do see Jax going for 1B, presumably for Binos in B sides and Binos overall.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to find a way to snipe the Bino objectives because it's tough to like just leave those on the board. If if your opponent gets through Temple, they can immediately get those objectives in Summit really quickly.
It looks like Jax got the first Bino and unlocked this next checkpoint and then left, which
Yeah, I
is
think
fair.
4B for Binos here could work out. We'll have to see if Jax can even beat to 8 and 10, but
If Jax gets to all 4 of these Binos, that would put him at,
8.
I believe, 7, because...
I believe Jax had, I think just got
Oh no, 8, yeah.
4. And then there's 4 more in 4B. This would be a really interesting way to snipe 8 Binos, but I think 8 Binos isn't even like the primary objective Tio gets from beating Temple. I think it's the Reflection, Grabless Lake, and then 5 Blue Hearts that is really what Tio gets from beating Temple. Possibly. We'll see what Tio decides after beating this chapter. Yeah, so this will be on track for 8 Binos leaving. Yeah, and Jax is also working to 4 cassettes. I think that'll be a soon... Actually, yeah. Will Tio have any progress other than Temple cassette to the 4 cassettes? I don't think so.
Not so far. Tio having a little bit of trouble at the end of Mixmaster, but yeah, the timing is kind of tight on the 8 binos.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be an 8 binos race because we do see Tio going to Summit. So we now have to see, can Jax get the remaining binos in this chapter before Tio can play. I believe, how many does Tio have right now? Probably 5A, 5B, 2A, some of the 4A binos.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact amount, but there are just so many in Summit that it won't take long to clean up.
Yeah, Jack still has a minute to go, but there's a lot of quick binos coming up for Tio, so I think this is going to be a bino check on how many Tio got along the way.
And honestly,
go purple.
Big props to Tio for knowing exactly which things to try and contest. Going back for the 3 blue, prioritizing Summit.
Okay, well, honestly, this
Tio's
is
at
interesting.
5. So I
Tio's
think
only going to
Jax,
get to 6, so this is definitely Jax's, but...
although Jax has quit out.
Yeah, I
Back
think
into
just
Eye of the
going
Storm.
for more binos. Yeah, so Tio has had access to 4A, or 2A, the 2 and 4A, 5A, 5B, so I think if Tio got all the binos up until now, would be at 5 plus the 3 in Summit. I think Tio has access to enough to get the 8 binos, just might have missed some along the way. I didn't see exactly which ones Tio picked up.
He didn't go towards the cassette in 4A. So that's one.
So that's 1 out of the 3 and 4A that Tio couldn't get, but there's still the Cliff Face Shrine Bino, that's 2, the 1 and 2A, 3, 5A and 5B, that's 5 total, plus the 3 in Summit. Tio could have gotten to 8 right now, I think just missed some binos along the way.
Yeah, but it's honestly alright for Tio, because...
Ooh, it turns pink.
It does turn pink, which is very important for Jax.
Tio had 7 binos. That is a very close race. Yeah, I think Jax kind of needed this. This ends up being huge. But where does it go from here? I wonder.
And it's also worth noting that Tio is still heavily advantaged to 10, because...
Yeah, there's like 2 more in this check.
2 more right here. Jax really can't compete.
Yeah, so it looks like 10 has gone purple, but 8 has gone pink. That is a very interesting way for this to play out. Okay, so I think we'll probably see maybe a 4 cassettes play from Jax. We're now... I feel like Jax has carved his way back into this game slowly, but still has such a progress disadvantage.
It's tough sledding, but the fact that it's 6-5 right now, it keeps hope alive for sure.
Reed does have a good point where that could have easily been a summit take, and I think if you're Tio, you would expect that to be a summit take, which definitely plays around with the mind games going on here.
Yeah, because other than 1A start without dashing, Jax hasn't really signaled what he's been doing.
Yeah, it's tough. The berry plays. You know that Jax played into Ridge, and that's about it. Okay, yeah, Grabless Lake. I think this makes a lot of sense for Tio. If you can get yourself access to another quick blue heart and knock off a pretty quick objective. Yeah, Reflection's pretty solid at the moment.
It just works well and doesn't cost you much time.
Yeah, so Grabless Lake. And I think we'll see maybe either 4 cassettes or 5 blue hearts play. I'm interested.
So it looks like Jax is going back into 2A to get that 4th cassette.
Makes sense.
It would have maybe been a little bit better if he had gotten it when he was in there for the 1-up, but who knows how that would have affected the other stuff that happened afterwards.
Definitely. So I think this is a summon cassette play from Tio. You already have this checkpoint unlocked, like, why not just finish it off? I very much, very much agree with this play. I
So when
think
you
this
see-
gives, yeah, this gives Tio a little bit of information,
Yeah.
seeing that you got Summit Cassette, but your opponent got 4 cassettes without Summit Cassette being one of them. So you think, is your opponent in Summit at all? Is something you start to wonder.
Took the words right out of my mouth. That's a pretty clear signal that maybe Jax isn't so far in progress as Tio might have thought.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
Jax
so yeah,
going
Jax
for 5B.
I guess this will get you another Bino and a B-side, but it's not enough to get to 6. Does Jax need to play this? Like, I guess, does
Well,
Tio
this-
have enough post-temple to win right here?
This does get Jax to 6 because he has 4 in 4B and 1 in 1B.
That's true. I'm really bad at math. I
This is
forgot
Bub's
the
drop
1-1.
though.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So yeah, looks like 5 blue hearts from Tio. Good routing to pull those all together. So yeah, there's 4 seeded berries that requires Summit. There's Summit B-side that requires Summit access. There's all berries in 2500. That's 3 late game objectives that Jax would have to beat Temple to contest.
And
Tio needs
Tio
4
also
objectives.
has Unraveling unlocked, and Jax doesn't, so that helps for the 1 key in search.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think the way the bingo math is working out is Jax either has to get every non-summit objective, or get into summit and contest some of those objectives, and it's tough to fight that battle.
Is there a world where Jax gets the Bino here, but then doesn't finish 5B and tries to go that route of getting everything else?
I think there is. that might be the best bet. I don't know. Maybe you try to pick up like key and search, get some berry progress along the way to 50. Yeah, I think you definitely finish this checkpoint just to have it done, but I'm really curious to see what Jax ends up deciding. It's a long shot, but you might just have to leave everything post-temple and try to keep your opponent at 12. I don't know.
No quit out.
Yeah. I don't know. This is gonna be... Okay, we do see
Oh,
a quit out.
changes his mind. Okay.
Very interesting. Resort
Into
for the
resort.
mess orders, I think. You can also get
Yeah.
some berries along the way.
This makes some sense.
Yeah, but I think in order for this to be a play that works out for Jax, you basically have to hope Tio goes into resort at some point. And if Tio just doesn't enter resort, then it's like Jax just wasted all this time, unfortunately.
The good thing is, all of the late game stuff, as Reed mentioned in the chat, it's gonna take some time. Getting the 4th seeded, getting all the berries
Oh.
at 2500 meters, playing 7B potentially.
7B? I don't know if it's the right play this early to start going 7B. I'm not sure. I mean, for Tio, this is like a 6-7 minute commitment. Maybe we're just getting some progress while Tio
This-
goes for binos. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is just through 500 meters to get those 2 binos.
Yeah, we'll see though. This is definitely interesting.
If you're gonna try and get binos and B-sides, 7B is one of the faster chapters now that you have the cassette.
Yeah, so we see Jax getting really close to 50 berries. I understand this. But if Tio just doesn't go for berries and mess order, then I wonder if this ever works out for Jax. We'll have to see.
Yeah, Jax just has to hope that Tio goes for something that he's already done and he can delay the right amount.
And this is indeed going for something that Jax has already done, the binos and B-sides.
Yep.
It makes sense to multitask these, but it's still... This might be one of the rare ways where Tio like commits to something that Jax is delaying.
Yeah, but even this doesn't hurt Tio too much because 7B's on the board anyway. Is this a core play from Jax?
Perhaps. I think, yeah. Jax hasn't finished any B-sides, so it's only 4B. That explains why needed that extra blue heart. Good
Yeah,
counting.
Jax quit out it through the mirror in 5B.
So this is a berries and 8A play. I could see this working out, especially since Jax still needs those berries for 50 berries. Why not multitask them a little? Meanwhile, Tio, I believe, will be going for 4 seeded, and then progress towards 2,500 meter berries.
Looks that way.
So yeah, if we project this out a bit, the 4 seeded 2,500 meter berries and Summit B-side just gets Tio to 12. What's that 13th objective going to be, I wonder?
The easiest is key and search, because Tio has Unraveling and Jax doesn't. But
Yeah,
of
I
course,
think-
Tio doesn't know that for sure.
Yeah, it's tough to know if that's a safe bet or not, but I would like to see either player start to pick up some of those objectives, but then again, as Tio, you don't know if Jax has Summit access or not. There's not been enough information to truly definitively say one way or the other.
Yeah, if I'm Tio, I probably wouldn't assume that Jax just straight up has not gotten to late game at all.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're Jax, like, you definitely want that Summit stuff to stay in the game, so if you're Tio, you kind of have to keep going for it. So with that, with the extra 2 or 3 minutes that Tio's spending now getting seeded berries and eventually 2,500 meter berries, what can Jax do to kind of get ahead and maybe delay some objectives? I think 8A is one of them.
8A is one of them, because you know Tio has enough hearts. I'm just trying to think of what Jax might feel is next on Tio's list. Key and search seems like it's gotta be at least somewhat high up there in priorities
There's
for
also
both
the
players.
farewell stuff. I think 2 keys and farewell only take like 2 to 3 minutes. I'd say 3 minutes for
Yeah,
Tio.
Tio into 2,500 and just continuing to clean all that up. And Jax is making pretty good progress. Good time through core.
Yeah, it's got only 1 berry to go.
Right, and doesn't need to finish the chapter.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more interesting ways that this objective plays out, where you just have to play too hard of the mountain, get halfway through, and then you're good. You can head out.
Yeah, I think this is kind of best case scenario for Jax, because Tio is spending all of this time on something that Jax is not contesting even a little bit.
Yeah, so I think what's really gonna, I think it's gonna come down to, can Jax bait Tio into the chapters that Jax has already played? And we'll see. A lot of this comes down to Tio's decision making, which will be interesting to see.
Tio's definitely been playing it smart.
Yeah,
Choosing one to go back.
choosing the right objectives to go for to get you to maybe 11 or 12, but I think the most important decision is going to be what is that 13th objective going to be? What does he end up choosing? And we do see the 5 berries and 8A delay. I wonder how long Jax can safely delay this. So far, Tio hasn't ticked since 5 blue, and we do see
Well-
the 5 berries and 8A tick, which if you haven't seen your opponent tick in a while, it does make sense, but
Yeah, it's tough because you really don't know what Tio's been doing.
yeah, like if Tio went for 4 seeded first and Jax saw that, then you'd know your opponent just spent the last few minutes getting seeded and couldn't have been an 8A. But considering Tio just hasn't ticked in a while,
Yeah, it's been like 7 minutes or something.
yeah, that's way too tough of a play to delay from. And search key is still on the board. Yeah, like surely Tio just goes to pick up search key. Or keys and farewell, it looks like. And yeah, I think this is going back to just Tio make the safe choice. And
This seems pretty safe.
yeah.
And Tio also has a very good farewell.
Is Tio delaying 2,500 meter berries? That's incredibly
way.
impressive when you're winning, but it might
Seems
work
like
out.
he's catching on to what Jax has been up to.
Yeah, just the absolute lack of ticks. Because Tio's delaying, it means Jax can't delay, which is very funny.
It's TTS, no problem.
Yeah, so we see Jax at 8, gonna get probably 50 berries very soon. Gonna get a mess order, brings Jax to 10, but just doesn't have what it takes unless maybe the 7B snipe comes out. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's hard to imagine Jack's getting enough without Summit,
Yeah.
especially because Tio's getting this power source objective.
Hmm.
So Jax needs one of force seeded or 7B.
Definitely. And those do not seem very likely from where we are right now.
Force seeded, I guess, is the easier because Jax has the other 3.
Ah, but you still would just have to play so long through
Yeah, you have to
7A.
finish 5B.
All TO has to do is just backtrack for a few more seeded. We'll see though. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be the one key in search pickup, I think.
Makes some sense.
Yeah, I almost wonder if TO's complete lack of ticks for so long just kind of gave Jax the false sense that, like, oh, I've been locking TO out of things. Like, I wonder, just the mind games of not ticking for so long. Good luck, have fun.
Yeah, Tio did tick 2500.
With a little bit of delay, but still, yeah, taking that shows your opponent, hey, I have all this summit progress. Probably scares Jax away from the 3-seeded or 4-seeded. This is definitely just a match of hiding information.
Yeah, Jax is delaying objectives, ticking them off way late. And meanwhile, Tio's just doing something completely different.
Yeah, those delays unfortunately don't matter if TO just doesn't go in the chapters that you expected him to. I don't know. And we do see the 2 keys in power source right at about 2 minutes 45. Pretty solid. And yeah, does TO trust the 4-seeded summit B-side win condition? Or does Jax bait TO into playing some other chapters?
This looks like a seeded play.
Yeah, the seed is probably the safest since you have so much summit progress. Picking up these last seeded is going to take like a minute or 2, I think. Though, still has to play through. I think TO hasn't grabbed any seeded other than the 7A, so.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So this is quite the time investment, but in order to make this comeback, Jax would have to full send Summit B-side and somehow catch up to TO in the time between search key as well.
Okay, Tio does have 5A, looks like.
Okay, gotcha. 2500 meter arm go before 4-seeded, because TO skipped a lot of seeds.
Tio skipped some seeds, and I guess maybe had some dreams of contesting 50 berries. At this point, Jax's only hope is, after getting this key, that he can somehow beeline it to 7B and hope that Tio, one of the best 70 players, that just one of the best 7B players,
yeah,
has to have some serious trouble.
and we'll have to see. I guess.
Yeah, we do have a GG
Jax...
call from Jax there.
Okay, yeah, it's it's a tough game to win from there. I think a lot of it came down to that early game. Being 3 objectives down, Jax had to kind of hope you can bait TO into some chapters you already played, delay, and then take some time from TO, and TO just didn't do that. TO just kind of kept to his own win condition.
And honestly though, Jax got to 11.
Yeah, brought it back.
Essentially, this was 13 to 12, because Tio wasn't going to get the other mess order.
Yeah. So if just one more objective early game went Jax's way, say the Ridge Blue Heart.
Ridge Blue or 3 Blue Hearts.
Yeah, 3 Blue Hearts. Any of those could have been the swing, but unfortunately early game ended up being really interesting. Yeah, maybe it comes back to that moment where Jax kind of had to start spreading out in the mid game and got locked out of 3 Blue. I think that ended up being pivotal. Yeah, and Jax even says in the game chat, if I win 3 Blue, I think I have a chance, but... Yeah, no, it came down to that mid-game. If TO ended up going for 1A star without dashing and Jax got it first, then maybe Jax would have got the 3 Blue first and anything could have happened, but...
Yep, I think some good routing decisions by Tio in that phase sealed things, kept him ahead.
Hmm.
And that does mean that this next match will be do or die for Jax.
Yeah. And this definitely was a board that favored the progress advantage, where if you got ahead to all those early 4A stuff and then got ahead to Summit, you got all those binos. And props to Jax for being able to fight and take some of those key objectives like the 8 binos. That was a very interesting way to win back some objectives.
Yeah, he did what he had to do to keep himself in the game.
Definitely. And I guess we'll be gearing up for another round.
Yep, give the players a moment to gather themselves. Looks like Jax is just doing some more warm-up.
It's okay. I still believe in the bracket reset. The LM Jacks, 4 games in a row win to get the upset.
It's, you know, anything's possible.
Anything's possible. And yeah, just a really progress heavy board that Tio was able to get the execution lead on. Came down to maybe 1 or 2 objectives in the mid game. Props to Jax for banging out some practice between games as well.
Whatever keeps you in the right mindset.
Okay, I believe we're gearing up for some R's, getting ready for the next game. Let's see what happens.
I think the players are chatting right now, so it might be another moment.
Chatting about how the 1-ups were just complete bait on that board. They really were. Like, the 2 1-ups would slow you down maybe 20, 30 seconds and then just lock you out of so much later on.
Chat, can we get a Bergie for our 2 players? Get them hyped up for the next game.
I want to see every Bergie. Nice. Nice Bergie. And I think we're getting into...
Almost there.
Maybe not. Taking just some time.
You know what? Even if this next match is the end of our tournament, we're gonna cherish every moment of bingo we can get.
Yeah, well, we'll make the most of it. I'm a believer for the LM Jacks comeback. That is not a Bergie I've ever seen before. Yeah, undefeated Tio would be pretty impressive. I love me some bonus bingo content, but a full undefeated run would be quite good.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, because... yeah, that'll just be a clean sweep.
Alright, this might be the final bit of practice for Jax. I think we're getting into it. Tito, fan 75. And we got a new board. Okay. Hopefully this one's not as progress heavy. Looking for maybe a more creative board that takes some more unconventional routing.
At first glance, it looks like that's what we're getting.
Yeah, this is definitely a weird one. I don't know. There's already like more resort options, which I think opens up a whole nother door. Even in 1A, we've got 10 berries in 1A and grabless 1A. You could either do those together, or you could go for grabless and skip berries, or you could go for 1A 1-up and work towards a 1-up in 3 chapters as well. So we've already got some branching routes. Want to start without jumping. That one's like a really quick investment. So this is
Yeah, there's so many different things you could
interesting.
potentially go for early.
Okay, Reed slamming down the 100% guarantee of a site skip, at least for Reed's routing. Let's see if their opinion ends up coming into play. I could see maybe. There's
I could see it.
Pico objectives. There's the 15 berries in 3A resort cassette.
There's
Grappler's
10 and
nest.
15 berries in 3A.
Oh my, that is a unique set of objectives. Yeah, you can go to the 2 cassettes into site skip. I don't know. Site skips are always such weird ways to play the game, but they work out every once in a while.
The fact that this board could lend itself to it, there's so many different options, that makes me happy. That's what I love to see.
Yeah, I genuinely think we'll have a much more weird routing on this instead of just like progress rush and anti-progress. I don't know what I would describe this board as.
Yeah, because there's also a lot of sort of long-term B-side objectives. 3 blue and 3 red, plus 5 B-sides.
And already we see a divergence where Jax kind of skips almost all
Ooh.
berries and Tio goes for 1-up, dies with a few berries. That already gives Jax a lead, while Tio now can't make progress to those berries and 1-ups as well as he initially wanted to, so
Tio
quite an
might
early
just try and
bit of
bring...
action.
never mind. I was gonna say, Tio might try to bring some berries along and make something happen along the progress, but it doesn't look that way.
Yeah, but that couple of stumbles, now Jax is pretty far ahead. Is it going to end up mattering though? Like, what's the next objective we're gonna see? Oh, interesting. Cassette on the first pass with 2 cassettes play, I believe.
Reed's prediction might just be coming true.
I don't know. I would love. Oh, even
Tio's
Tio
doing the
getting
same thing.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see how this plays out. Oh.
And even though Tio had those stumbles, he is not far behind.
Yeah, no, this is still a very, very interesting early game. They're basically even on everything except for Jax being just about a room ahead. Can we see the side skip is what I'm thinking. Jax menuing does go into old site. Probably gonna
Yeah.
go for 2 cassettes.
Yeah, I think after you get the first cassette, you're definitely at least going for that, and then maybe site skip after.
Mhm.
I also wouldn't be shocked to see some 2B action.
Yeah, I think 2B has some merit. There's red and blue hearts, hearts and cassettes, hearts and cassettes. There's some
Binos.
crazy synergy with just hearts and cassettes.
Jax skipped the Bino. Tio did not, and that might be the difference for 2 cassettes.
Yeah, that little bit of time.
Or not. Jax dies,
No.
and it's purple.
Yeah, that late death in the cassette room.
Oh,
That ends up
that's
mattering.
painful. Both players quitting out, so something's going down.
Yeah,
Both
are we gonna
players
see
into 2B.
a double 2B at the same time?
Wow.
I mean, it makes sense. You have a lot of like disconnected synergy with hearts and B-sides, but I wonder if the side skip has additional merit. I don't know.
Well, that ship has sailed, unfortunately, but now we've just got a good old 2B race.
Yeah, definitely. I know Tio's got the faster strats by far, but we'll see if Dax can still stay in this 2B race.
Yeah, so far it looks like the difference between them is essentially just Tio going for slightly faster strats in a few rooms.
Yeah, Tio's got an absolutely ungodly couple of B-sides.
Okay, I was wondering if Tio was going to try and wait out the battle line chasers in that room,
Jax
because
is
a
still
death there
pretty
would be...
close. Yeah, that's a risky one to go for.
Yeah, but Tio's not going to mess that one up.
Yeah, gained a few seconds of advantage just from faster strats. At least Tio has.
Yeah, they're in the same room.
Yeah, both players have not died yet, which is impressive. I guess, do you go resort after this, or do you
Probably.
skip? I don't know. You can also work towards 3 hearts and 3 cassettes in 4A because that has a quick cassette and a quick heart. But yeah, there's just so much in resort that I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much in resort, and you do get potentially a heart and a cassette along the way.
Tio goes into resort. I do feel like you might have to go into resort, but there's definitely counterplay, and there you
Fair
have
enough.
it. LM Jax skips resort, and now we have a huge divergence in route.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how much of the things in resort Tio tries to get in one run.
It's definitely gonna be the berries. I feel like
Yeah,
might as
you
well
gotta
throw
get
in
10 and
Grabless Huge
15.
Mess. Gonna have to throw in the blue heart. What is Jax cooking? I would say 3 cassettes and 3 hearts.
Yeah,
Seems
with
like the goal.
4A heart and cassette, you would just have to get another heart.
Yeah, it's not bad. Is there much in 4A besides that? I mean, there's the few binos, but Tio's
Grabble's
gonna
Cliff
get that.
Face.
Grabble's Cliff Face is also nice. I agree.
It's a nice free one.
Maybe would have liked to see Jax go for the start 1-up, just because you can get progress to 10 and 5, 1-up in 3 chapters, all collectibles 4A, but we did. Maybe if you think your opponent's also following you into 4A, then you don't want to waste all that time.
Yeah, if you're worried about being followed into 4A or being behind into 4A, you definitely don't want to get the 1-up. And
Yeah. I do know one thing I've heard Jax like preach a lot is how little time you lose going for that 4A start 1-up, but
yeah,
did not seem like Jax thought it was worth it this time. And yeah, this is a 3 hearts, 3 cassette display. Very interesting to be this early in the game and already have that.
yeah, I think this particular objective has been the talk of a lot of conversation in the bingo community just because it's kind of hard to tell whether, like, where in the game you should be going for it, but in this case it just lined up so well with everything else.
Yeah. And we'll see 4A for the Oh yeah, Tio not doing the grab list, huge mess. Very interesting. Maybe you just want to focus on progress, focus on getting berries without having to worry about that, or maybe you missed the objective on the board, I don't know. Could be anything. And now, yeah, this puts Jax in a really good spot both for hearts and cassettes. I keep saying those 2 words. But good progress to 4 hearts and 4 cassettes and 3 blue and 3 red, so
Absolutely.
I like it.
Tio seems to be getting the heart in resort. No surprise there.
Jax only has 2 blue hearts and 2 B hearts, so we're good. I wonder what's the game plan from here. It's just so hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you just continue progressing, you can finish 4 hearts, 4 cassettes with Temple and 5B.
Yeah, there's also incentive to get to Summit or Reflection, right? You got 3 gems in Summit, you got 10 binos, you got 1500 meter berries, so maybe just try to get through Temple or skip Temple as soon as possible, get those Summit objectives. Also, Reflection cassettes pretty quick. We'll see. And yeah, we'll probably see Grabless Cliff Face shortly once Jax gets there.
Yep. With good practice, it's really not too bad.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 tricky rooms, but I like Jax grabbing these berries here. There's all collectibles 4A, and you might drop 10 or so seconds picking up these berries while you're here, but you might save yourself minutes if you come back for this objective later. So
Jax is definitely playing this game like he's in it for the long haul.
yeah, and okay, Jax going back to room
Backtracking.
1. It makes sense if that's a tough berry to get grabless. Might as well. Yeah, going for the 1A star without jumping, Tio actually really needs to get this objective. I think this would have been probably a good time to go back for it after getting the 3 Arson cassettes if you're Jax.
we will have this one go to Tio.
Mhm.
Kind of
So
seeing
far-
the
Yes, sir.
kind of seeing the opposite situation to last game, with Tio seemingly ditching the progress,
Mhm.
Jax continuing on.
Yeah, I wonder who's gonna get out of Temple first. Obviously, I think Tio will probably play 4A and skip Temple, but is that gonna end up faster than Jax, who basically only has to play Temple, where Tio has to play through the remaining parts of 3A and still get the get through 4A, which isn't a very long chapter, mind you.
So Jax,
Going for Grabless 1A, maybe.
no, that was turning off Grabless.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Going for the 1-ups.
One-ups.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess maybe this is the point in the game where you gotta start thinking of those other objectives. Maybe you do get Blue Heart while you're here. It's not a...
Honestly,
not a
wouldn't
bad
have hated an attempt at a Grabless 1-up.
that would have been spicy. Because, yeah, you can do the Grabless 1-up, get that start checkpoint done just for later.
Yeah, I expect that Jax wouldn't have any problem getting it, it just might cost more time.
Okay, no, I do get this though. This is 10 berries in 1A. I forgot that was also on the board.
Yep.
So this is very good multi-tasking, getting multiple objectives. But I do think this means that Tio hasn't indicated a single amount of 3A progress, which is very weird. Hasn't
Yeah,
even gone for Resort Cassette.
did not get the set.
It's such a weird position to be in for Jax. You just don't know your opponents in 3A at all.
Jax, you already have that one.
Oh no. We saw that in the losers finals, I think. Players grabbing 1A cassette multiple times.
Easy to forget this sort of thing in the middle of a streamed match.
Definitely. Now, will we see the 5A 1-up to work towards that 1-up in 3, I wonder?
Probably. Would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Looks that way.
This is interesting. And this is another part where maybe going for that 4A 1-up could have been interesting. Could have been a smart play for Jax while he was there, but maybe at that time Jax thought Tio could have been also in 4A and was racing Tio. I don't know. So yeah, how many did Tio pick up in 3A? Did he even get to 10?
He got a good amount of berries. I wasn't sure the exact number, we're about to see. 15. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Jax gets that one up. And it looked like he finished it up top on purpose. When usually people tend to go for that berry only if they accidentally collect or something, just because
Yeah.
it puts you closer to finishing the checkpoint.
Yeah, it gives you progress. Tio, I don't think got the 3A tape, but I could be wrong there. I think, yeah, okay, we are seeing a 4A 1-up now, just to finish that 1-up in 3 chapters, where it won't be that much time, and this will help Jax get towards all collectibles 4A, help towards 10 and 5, and obviously get that 1-up in 3 chapters.
It's worth noting that I think at this point, Tio could potentially be the first one into late game.
Very, very likely at this point. Jax has put a lot of time into these alternate objectives. I think the summit stuff might go to Tio if he just rushes full progress here. Very close to the 1-up. Hoping this turns pink, and it does. Yeah, maybe could have saved some time doing this first pass, but also maybe Jax was rushing for progress at this time. Never know. And is gonna just clean up these last berries just for the all collectibles for her.
That makes sense. You don't want to have to play this checkpoint a third time.
Yeah.
Tio is going for a good amount of various collectibles.
Yeah, getting these hearts. I wonder if Tio's gonna have a chance at contesting the hearts and cassettes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Fast heart.
Yeah, Tio's got the pause buffer strats on lock for that.
Okay.
I wonder if this is. I don't know. Is Tio going for the 4 hearts and 4 cassettes?
Yeah, it's gotta
Or is
be.
Tio... Oh god, Tio did get 4. He got Resort Cassette and I completely missed it. That makes 4 hearts and 4 cassettes, which is something Jax really wanted.
Yeah, that's a tough blow.
Does Tio have 4 cassettes? Surely. 1, 2, 3, 4 at this point. Yeah, because they both got 1 and 2, and then if Tio also got 3, 8 cassette and 4, then... Yeah,
So
that
he
was
wouldn't have
the
ticked.
mega tick for Tio.
Yeah. Kind of putting all the cards on the table.
And Tio's looking like he's gonna get into Summit first now, so this might actually be a very resounding lead for Tio. We'll see. I mean, if I had to... Yeah, that was like a massive swing out of nowhere, but it's just because Tio was delaying the resort stuff for so long. But if I had to guess where Jax might have gone wrong a little bit, was maybe going back for all those 1-ups? I don't know. I think going back for the 1A 1-up was fine, but 4A ended up just being like a minute commitment when you could have gone for those like 4 hearts and 4 cassettes, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, the 1-up at least got you towards 10 in 1A as well.
Yeah.
The others...
Jax ends up missing Bub's drop again.
Oh no.
Why aren't these players from Sweden? The Sweden takeover is over.
I believe Tio's character name is Swedrun.
So yeah, I think if we play this out a little, a lot of objectives are going to go Tio's way. It's going to be interesting to see what Jax will decide, because I think Jax is kind of starting to look like a pretty dire scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like we're about to head into a similar situation where Tio's first into late game and ahead in objectives.
Yeah. And all that backtracking from Jax ended up just costing a lot of time. Say that minute spent doing the 4A was applied to 5B, I think Jax would almost be out of the chapter by now. If not already in the Summit, I don't know.
Yeah, it probably would be just about finishing up.
Yeah, I think Jax had the tools to get into Summit first, but with just those lack of ticks from Tio, maybe didn't know what to contest, didn't know what was more important. And we'll see if Tio goes into Summit or Reflection, hits the Temple skip as expected, and does go into Summit, but considered Reflection. Sure.
Could have just been a miss menu.
Most likely just a miss menu.
Alright. Tio seems to be with like maybe a 40-second lead into Summit once Jax finishes all the menuing.
Yeah, so we'll probably see 3 gems, 10 binos, both go to Tio. I think this difference. Okay, well,
So this
we
time,
do see Jax kind of maybe understanding that he's behind because we are seeing 4A here.
yeah, Jax
Oh,
definitely
this-
pondered Reflection as well. At least it looked that way.
I think this is a play for binos, and maybe Jax gets 10 binos because this will put Jax at 7, then just has to play through 1500, but Tio's at 7 right now, or almost at 7. So does Tio get the remaining 3 and 1,000 before Jax can get to 500 and pick those up? It's possible. I don't know.
I think Jax can get this without any mistakes.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the sake of the bracket reset.
For the sake of the bracket reset, the content.
And Tio's taking some deaths. This is gonna slow him down to those binos that he so desperately needs.
Yeah, Jax is definitely getting this.
Does Jax get this gem, I wonder? I feel like you certainly get it, yeah. You don't know if you're behind the 3 gems or not. Just even though we know from commentating. And yeah, it's looking like at least 10 binos is gonna go Jax's way, which is really good. I think he needs that to stay in this game. But will it be enough?
Yeah, everything contested at this point is going to be very important.
Unfortunate death, but we do see 10 binos go pink. That's big.
That means we still have a match.
Yeah. If all these objectives went to Tio, then it would start to get pretty dire. But that being said, where do we still go from here, I wonder?
Yeah, I expect Tio's about to lock Jax out of gems.
Yeah, you still continue to go for Jax. Oh no, I think Jax knows that he's behind and is going into reflection for cassette. I think that was a very smart read. Somehow was able to figure out that he was behind the gems. I like it. And
yeah, that was
reflection cassette.
That was an incredible read.
The actual soul read.
He had to have predicted that Tio was in Summit because he
Yeah.
put so much emphasis on the 10 binos, but to realize that quitting out there was the right play.
Take some hindsight or some foresight. Same thing.
Some insight, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. There's some strong objectives in Pico. I wonder if Tio will start to look towards those.
Jax hit late skip, but then accidentally kicked off the wall before going through the transition.
Oh no. Yeah, okay, I think we're seeing the Pico play. Since it's so easy to get to Pico, or maybe this is the Grabless Mesh play, which also makes sense.
It'd be both.
Yeah. So, like, with the remaining 3A Grabless Huge Mess and Pico objectives, if those all go to Tio, then Tio's at 10. If 1500 meter berries also go to Tio, that's 11. That also gives 35 in 7A to Tio. That's 12. This might be another situation where Jax has his back up against the wall. There's also Library in 3B, which is 13. So Summit and Resort alone are enough to give Tio a win condition.
I think, yeah, Jax has to pick something among that to contest.
Yeah, with the way the counting is adding up, I think Tio has everything he needs to get to 13 in Resort and Summit.
Gravel's 1A should only be a minute and change.
Yeah, and Jax definitely can, and I feel like should contest 7A. But he's about, what, a checkpoint behind since Tio was in 1,000? We'll have to see if the time to get 15 in Pico, which honestly, 15 in Pico and Grabless Mess could take a while. If if Tio fully commits to the Pico and Grabless Mess and Jax gets ahead into Summit, I think that's Jax's way back into this.
Yeah. Tio does seem to be going pretty smoothly through Pico. 15 in Pico could be really fast if you have some of the crazy strats that exist, but it seems like Tio is just going for the reliable stuff.
Yeah, Pico's a little broken, but even just normal Pico strats are usually fine.
Jax finishing up Grabless.
Pretty solid execution.
Yeah, 122.
Definitely. And I think we do see a delay of Grabless 1A. That won't end up mattering, I think, because Jax can see that Tio's in Pico is probably going to keep playing Pico, but I wonder how long Jax ends up delaying this. If Tio gets baited into playing that, I don't know.
Jax has to hope that he doesn't give some signal that causes Tio to go right back into Summit.
What objectives does Jax have a lead to? To complete 5 B-sides, I think, because Jax has done 2B, 5B, 3 blue and 3 red advantage
Yep.
because of all those cassettes and the 2B, 5B. So maybe get 1500-meter berries, work towards 10 and 5, then go for your third blue heart or your third red heart. I don't know.
And then there's
There's the
a
Gravis
farewell
1A too.
objective, just sticking out like a sore thumb, all by
Yeah.
itself.
And that one's actually not too long. 5 binos, you just have to play the power source. It probably takes as long as like a 1 key in power source would. So now Jax is in 1000, whereas Tio's nearly at the 15 berries. The question is, will Tio continue to play Huge Mess Grabless, or will Tio go straight into Summit?
Did Tio unlock 1.5k?
I do not remember. that would be a good one to know. He did, okay. That is good. Thank you. It's definitely not too much of an extra investment to unlock 1k when you already have that gem. Maybe about 20 seconds, save yourself another 20 seconds down the line.
That is 15 berries done. Tio does go to the next room just to make sure.
This might be a Summit. Quit out, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
No, okay, this is a
3B
3B
library.
for the library. Interesting.
Okay.
I think this makes sense. It's a minute to get to library. Probably less than a minute with Tio strats.
I believe Tio
Tio
has gotten
spells
to
Grabless
library. Yeah, Grabless library, maybe not, but I think earlier in this tournament, Tio got to library in less than a minute.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. So I think like this gives you time to kind of wait to see what your opponent's doing. If Jax gets like to 1500 meter berries and takes it off right away, then Tio knows, okay, then I don't have to worry about Summit anymore. So just going for something that's uncontested and this short of an objective, I think ends up being strong for Tio. Why
Yeah.
isn't Grabless 3B an objective? No. No.
Grabless 3B. So, I imagine these, if Tio does play out 3B fully, which we are seeing it continue after library.
That's such good progress to 3 blue, 3 red. Then Tio only needs one more B-side, probably just one B. That takes a minute and a half for Tio.
Yeah, and Jax will finish 1.5k a bit earlier, but it's probably not that far apart.
Yeah, I guess. Does Jax get the right read where at the moment you take these like 1500 berries, you just have to go straight to B-sides? That might be what Jax needs to stay in this. Okay, Tio quits out actually.
It's on a
Interesting.
rooftop.
Let's see what this ends up being. All collectibles 4A maybe? I don't know, we're definitely getting some thinking from Tio. Goes back into 3B, so maybe that indecision lost Tio some time, I don't know.
That's enough to give Jax the edge if Jax goes immediately for a third B-side.
Yeah, I think it's actually gonna maybe end up mattering. That decision making, I don't know. Does Jax have 3 blue? That's a good question.
Oh, and I didn't even notice that Tio has ticked library, which definitely tells Jax that he needs to be in a B-side now.
Oh no, Jax goes into 2B, but I think we already have this B-side.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're out. And yes, 1B. This is where Jax needs to be to stay in this match, I think. Does take the 1500 meter berries. You can't know if your opponent's contesting that. You kind of just have to take it, I feel like.
Okay, so Tio goes back for 4A collectibles.
This is interesting. You kind of need to now start branching out because you know the summit objectives aren't yours anymore. But Is it starting to look up for Jax or what? This is definitely interesting.
I think this is definitely a benefit for Jax, especially now that Tio's entering 1B.
Just a little
Um,
too late. But does Jax have 3 blue hearts? I can't remember. Maybe Jax does,
uh,
but I know that we
Jax
got
has
2A, or we
2A
were
and
on our way to 2A when Tio ticked 3 blue 3, right? I can't remember.
yeah, I think he still got it, and he has 4A.
I do think Jax has 2 blue. I agree with Reed, but
Depends on what
the
you mean
last
by
one will be
casual
very
player.
long.
The net players
But
are
Jax
way
is
better at
making
this game than I
some
am.
1B mistakes here, which this is getting intense.
Yeah, Jax can't make too many more mistakes.
That might have been just a check on blue hearts right there. It's coming down to the wire. Tio just a few screens behind. Jax, I think, still has to get a blue heart in order to finish this.
Yeah, I don't know
Maybe.
if Jax has enough time for that.
Yeah, Tio's executing pretty well.
Dies in the heart room.
Oh, it turns
It's purple.
and I think that just came down to not having the blue hearts throughout the course of the run.
Wow, that seems like a
Uh,
nail in the coffin potentially.
Yeah, so I think now if you're Teal, what do you maybe finish? Looks like finishing all collectibles 4A? I don't know.
Now Tio has the luxury of being able to go for some things that don't have synergy.
Yeah, a lot of options here. That was a really close, possibly game-deciding lockout. Yeah, the timers did get pretty out of sync. I don't know how that happened.
I guess Tio did more menuing.
Very possibly, but that's like minutes worth of difference. I don't
Yeah.
know. So Jax going for Grabless Huge Mess here does possibly matter, but Tio has the ability to just kind of ignore this. I don't know. Maybe Tio tries to finish 5 B-sides, since if you're Jax and you haven't gone into Resort, that 5th B-side is going to have to be 6B probably, and that's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, Jax, if he does play all the way through Grabless Huge Mess, it would be faster to just get the cassette and do 3v, right? Although,
Yeah, I think at that point, definitely. My bad.
yeah.
So Tio almost done with this all collectibles 4A. Just needs some start and cassette things. And then
He has the cassette, I think.
Gotcha. What will Tio's last objective be? Maybe 5 B-sides, since
Could just go farewell.
that's also very possible.
Just like what we saw last game. Somewhat safe once you've
Tio
gotten
takes a
ahead.
death with an early start berry. Might have to go back for that. That
backtrack?
is- Yeah, the backtrack
Oh, yeah.
just ends up costing a decent amount of time.
Grabless Mess is probably the best place for Jax to be right now.
Yeah, I would say so. But because it's the best place for Jax to be, Tio's might just not go for it. I don't know, it's tough. If Tio goes mess directly after this and Jax delays it, that's, I think, Jax's best way back in the game. But Tio might just know that and ignore the resort objective. I don't know.
Tio, for the most part, seems to be doing a good job of not getting himself locked out of things
Yeah.
too badly.
And does finally get all collectibles 4A. That is 12 objectives, and Jax calls GG. Unfortunately, there were just way too many options at this point, I think. And we have ourselves a new expert bingo champion with the undefeated win. undefeated
Huge
run.
congrats to
Really
To.
well. Yeah.
That was extraordinarily well played.
hmm It did end up coming down to those 3 blue, 3 red hearts, I think. Just kind of unfortunate.
Not to
Yeah.
mention the death in the 2A cassette room.
Yeah, that one was definitely an early swing. Jax had the advantage to 2 cassettes and just took that late death, so that's one objective that could have gone pink. I think 4 hearts, 4 cassettes. If Jax went for that instead of 1 up in 3 chapters, that could have gone pink. I don't know. a lot of swings that happened.
Yeah, you always have to get a few reads right to beat a player with an exec advantage. And sometimes you just can't be sure.
Yeah, definitely tough, but I think To earned that win. Played very well all throughout today,
Through the whole
and
tournament, really.
Jack's still a bingo goat in my mind.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Jax had the best chances of taking some games off of To.
Yeah, definitely To's combination of just solid routing and incredible execution is tough to beat. Like, I think playing bingo against faster execution players is always a challenge, and once those players in faster execution also catch up in routing, like it creates like a new class of experts, which is I think what we're seeing now from the likes of our best expert players. It's crazy.
Yeah, the group of players here played so well, even exceeding the expectations I would have for an expert group.
Yeah. So, congrats to all runners. I think it was a great tournament.
Yeah, congrats to everyone.
Now, I guess do we have? I think there might be announcements. Some very interesting things coming up. I'm not sure.
I believe that there are announcements and some interesting things coming up. First off,
Okay.
huge GG's to Tio for winning the Expert Bingo Bash, undefeated. Huge congratulations. Shoutouts to everyone who came out, all the players, all the commentators, all the Lee streamers, and you, all the viewers, at twitch.tv/CelesteCommunity. And I have an announcement for what's going on next in the bingo community. Usually after each of these binge cycle cycles ends, we have a short time to explore other events, that sort of thing. And on popular demand, we have decided to bring back, yes, a sequel to Museum of Bingo. That's right, Museum of Bingo 2, featuring all the insane, crazy bingo variants that you all know and love. So keep your ears out. If you want to stay updated on Museum of 2 bingo information, please check out the Celeste Community Events Discord. And yeah, that's mostly all I have to offer. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you to the players for the expert binge. Thank you to co-commentators here. And yeah.
That's incredibly exciting. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know. The last Museum of Bingo was absolutely insane. We got to show off variants like Katango, Invasion, Celeste Lockout. Lots of crazy stuff.
I cannot overstate my excitement for this.
Yeah, it is absolutely going to be one heck of an event. I hope to see you all there coming in just a couple weeks. So, yeah.
You won't want to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Chat, what is your favorite Celeste Lockout Bingo objective?
Ooh. That's the content answer, I think.
Epic is right
Objective to do or objective to see on a board?
either
or-
way. I'm with Epic. I'm a 7B enjoyer.
Yeah, 7B is the biggest potential for like a high brace.
Yeah, 7B is 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 7B is
All 12 Seekers is not a common bingo objective, but it is good. Or was good. Well, isn't it still in the long generator on Bingo Sync that never gets updated anymore? Old Longo. When is the Celeste Community Old Longo bracket?
We've seen some Bino love in the chat. I also like that the bingo just took a completely normal object from the Celeste game and just turned it into objectives. And now suddenly you need to remember where binos are in the game. You don't really interact with the game in that way outside of bingo. Very cool.
Yeah, bingo is great for that. It just makes you really think about levels in a way that you kind of forget about some of those things. Theo cutscenes, binos, you know.
Only bottom round and hollows.
Rooms in hollows that you haven't seen in 2 years.
I haven't seen ever. I remember the first time playing randomizer. I'm like, what is this? Is this from a mod? Like,
This
what?
looks like 6A.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really no reason to go back to 6A after having beaten it once, since there's like no collectibles outside of the beginning of Hollows. So it's very likely that most people only have ever seen one of each of the two possible, or maybe three possible, Hollows rooms.
And somebody probably knows this better than me, but my recollection is that routing divergence in hollows is a big part of the reason why the developers did not put strawberries in that chapter, because it would have been, you'd have to put some in hollows, and then if you do that, you put in the potential for missing them if you choose the wrong route, and just it wouldn't have worked out. It is funny,
I
to see.
remember casually going through that and being like, man, I haven't found anything. Oh no, the wall closed behind me. Oh no.
Yeah.
And in the end, there was nothing.
It's
Although in
unusual
Summit,
as you're.
Yeah.
You play the game casually. Resort 25 berries, Ridge 29, Temple 31. Oh boy, there's going to be a lot in the next chapter. Nope, 0.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's true. Madeline has other things on the brain to deal with in reflection than figuring out where strawberries are. So I guess that
True, it
makes sense.
fits thematically. I hadn't thought about that. Although still picking up the tunes. Yeah, though there is some... I think City and Summit also have some... you have to pay attention which path you take to get all the collectibles in one go.
It's true. But there's no, as long as you pick the right path, you will get all the collectibles. There's no route divergences where there's collectibles each way. And you could have done that by putting berries in, the non-divergent parts of Hollows if you wanted to go that route. But
yeah, it would have been possible.
You would have had to make some different rooms. It would have been a whole thing. I respect what the devs did. It's a good level.
Except for the bumpers.
Except for I don't respect the bumpers. That's fair.
Yeah. That's a fun one, maybe also. What's your most disliked Celeste mechanic?
Ooh. At a casual level, bumpers for sure, because it's hard to figure out. I mean, after they fixed bumper boosts to be a little bit more lenient, now they're better. At a high level...
Now I die in core because I always get the bumper boost and get yeeted into spikes. It's weird.
Yeah, that happens. And then speaking of core, I was going to say for high level stuff, core hypers, just no. The core blocks
core
themselves
speedrunning is not for me for sure.
Top level core speedrunning is brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, feathers can also be kind of tough to deal with.
Oh, clouds. Yeah.
I
clouds
didn't
can be
mind the
tricky.
clouds that much. I had more issue with the wind in Golden Ridge, but I think
I vividly remember just my early days of Celeste where I didn't really have the muscle memory of like exactly how everything works. And clouds were one of those things where sometimes you've got to get the maximum height. And I can remember being in the last room of 7B 2,000 meters.
Oh,
going off
7B
that
clouds
last
are
cloud.
nasty.
That last cloud where you have to do the 2 up dashes to battle line, and I kept doing 2 up dashes and getting 2 pixels away, being like, why am I not touching the orb, please?
Yeah. Flag 13 in 7B for
Oh,
sure with the
Flag
cloud
13's brutal.
having to go around there. So many golden attempts died on that.
Oh, it took
But,
me
yeah.
years to get comfortable with that one. The trick, in my opinion, is to keep walking left as you jump.
Yes.
Once I got that down, cleaned it up quite a bit. Or, you could just do the demo.
Of
that's
course.
fine. Just avoid the whole cloud nonsense altogether.
The casual buffer double demo through a wall of spikes that
Simple.
seems impassable.
Easy. Easy strat, IMO.
Yeah. Although I think talking about chapters, chapter 3 definitely casually was the worst for me. Not being very used to cycles, especially at the speed at which they're going, since Celeste was one of my first challenging platformers in that sense. And also Oshiro, which I learned years later that the third Oshiro apparently comes delayed. So that is just something where, how does Oshiro always catch me? Wait, why is it now different? There was a lot of anger there, I think.
I liked 3A and 5A both a lot casually because I like the more non-linear aspects where we got to you get to choose your path through a huge mess, and in Temple you get to search around for keys and get to see
Temple
a lot
was
of
definitely
different
very cool.
Yeah. A little dark before you light the torches up, but yeah, really fun level.
Search was a different beast, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely for me as well. Temple 5A is bigger than 3A, yeah.
That is true. It is 2A larger.
Yep.
But what if A is negative? You should know this, math hacker. That's a math hack. This is definitely the content that people came to see today.
Just talking about Celeste for 2 hours. No, Thunder, it's okay. Restreaming is, not trivial from what I've learned, so...
There's a reason I'm on comms and not restreaming.
It seems intimidating, for sure. And we literally couldn't do it without the people who are willing to take that, so... Despite all the technical issues, still thanks to all of our restreamers, because I think that's the people we're most lacking for these kind of tournaments.
For sure.
Now for the real question. Is there anyone here who got 100% completion in Celeste without looking up guides?
Definitely not. No way.
The Crystal Hearts just eluded me.
I got some, but let me tell you, I don't think I would have been sitting here today not knowing where the 2A heart was if I had never looked it up. I mean,
oh, true, yeah.
The
I did
idea
that
of bouncing back and forth between screens just would have never occurred to me. Oh, and 6A.
Actually, I think 6A, after I had looked up 1A, was somewhat logical to me, but I would have never gotten 1A without a guide in a million years. 4A just went past me because I didn't get the reference.
I am an old boomer gamer, so I completely understood what was going on in 4A.
I'm old enough to have played the game, but I didn't. So
I think I probably got Mario 3 on release.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean... Oh, did I get the 5A heart? I'm not sure.
Seven A is fine. It's not really
I think
gimmicky.
7A
It's
I
just that
got.
there's a hidden
Yeah.
thing in each. That's a really cool design. It's like you got to find a little piece of something all the way through. And
Yeah,
then at
yeah,
the
yeah,
top,
that was definitely
it's the
cool.
reward.
And then...
8A heart is
3A.
very well hidden IMO.
I love that post of people just not getting the cassette in 8A and I'm going to the Reddit like, hey, how do I get... I have searched everywhere. No, I think in the end, 7A might be the only heart that I actually got without looking it up.
Yo, LM Jax. Oh, word. I mean, you could always just do 4A fast heart casually. Be like, I
Oh,
climb up,
absolutely.
I see a heart. Let me just try to do a wall bounce and a corner kick. I can do that. I think for people playing the game for the first time you see a heart is in 3A. When you go through books and it's below
Yeah.
that one room, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on down there? And then you start thinking, oh, maybe I have to backtrack and
Yeah,
go this way,
I
that
was-
way. How do I get into that room?
I was so clueless. I didn't get I didn't get how to get to the heart in 3A, and I also searched for the last huge mess berry, and I just could not find it. And somebody said, like, just go back to the beginning. I'm like, what?
I think that's pretty clever because it is something you could pick up on. You notice that
Oh,
that
yeah,
first
yeah,
room
yeah.
has all the stuff in it, and you go, wait a minute, I cleared the stuff. Let me go back there.
Yeah, making that connection that like the blocks are all things that you can clean up. Yeah, looking back, it was clever, but I think at the time, I had like relatively high berry count, like over 100 berries, completing the game for the first time, and then just going back and cleaning up some of the stuff. I was like, ah, man, these riddles are a bit too much, for some of the berries.
Now watch Maddie be like, if you thought Celeste riddles were hard, here comes Earthblade.
Earthblade speculation. Oh, someone getting 2A heart from the poem. Oh,
I
true,
don't
the
think-
heart is actually next to the poem. So you might
Yeah.
have seen the 2A heart first, even if not getting it.
I don't remember if I found the poem casually. That's been so long ago that I
I
can't even
don't
remember.
think I did either.
I have tried to introduce both of my children, ages 9 and 7, to Celeste, and they really like it at first, until intervention. Like,
Oh
if
yeah,
you're-
I can see that.
Yeah, once they start getting chased, it's like, I'm out. I can't do this. I cannot.
Yeah, that's the first really like difficulty spike where you don't really have time to think that much. The critical path in City is fairly easy, and then also the start of 2A is just a little bit of dream block fun if you can find the way you need to go.
Yeah, Dreamblocks
But-
was like
but then
the
it
first
picks
thing where I
up.
was like, oh, this game's awesome. I like this a lot. And I want to encourage my kids to keep going, and then I'm sitting here thinking, but then they're going to get to Resort. Like, Resort's
Oh
really
yeah,
hard.
oh yeah, that's rough.
had another friend who I tried to get into this game casually, and he made the mistake of trying to do the B-sides after the A-sides before progressing
Oh
in the
yeah,
game.
I saw people talking about that.
And
Yeah.
he finished 3B, bless his heart, and then was like, "That's it, I'm out."
Oh,
Like,
that's
you
a
shouldn't
shame.
have done that. That's a hard.
Like
level
finishing
to
3B
do.
is impressive that early
Finishing
into
3B is
the
really hard.
Yeah, quitting at Resort, I definitely get. I dreaded Resort when I realized what was happening in Summit.
Mm. I think I struggled with 4A quite a bit casually because the wind is pretty
Oh,
brutal.
casually,
When you don't have, hypers in your toolbox yet, and you're
Yeah,
trying to deal with
yeah.
wind rooms.
Speedrunners just
rough.
acting like the wind doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
What wind? All collectibles and all B-sides first pass. Wow.
I mean, all collectibles I definitely get wanting to finish out the chapters.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't get all collectibles, but if I did find a berry, I'd be like, I'm getting this berry. And I spent
Oh yeah, no,
What was
I
it?
look for them actively, but yeah.
I think the fourth berry in 1K took me 30 minutes the first time. I just could not get the little diagonal movement up through the dream blocks to the top of the room. I was so bad at it.
Yeah, it's been so long since I played the game casually. It's hard to remember how I felt about a lot of these things because everything is getting overwritten with speedrunning muscle memory.
Yeah, it's thousands of gameplay hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just 1,000 for me, but still. Also, having gotten some people into playing Celeste and watching them go through the game is quite enjoyable. Although you do notice that in some places the game has a bit of trouble telling people where to go. And there's just some things that I also casually just didn't get, especially you open 2C and it's just Dream Block, spikes, have fun. And it's like, what? What now?
The C-sides casually were so brutal.
Yeah.
5C especially. I mean, I've talked about this before. I didn't totally understand wall bouncing. I was able to finish 7B where they teach it to you, but I was still trying to almost wall bounce as pressing dash and jump together. And there's very few places where that actually works. You really need to delay the jump.
Yeah,
So
I
the
wonder.
first room of
I must have
5C
gotten that down. Because you can definitely do a lot of wrong with wall bouncing. With getting a very low wall bounce or letting go of jump and stuff like that. And then also the thing that you get different trajectories if you hold a direction or not. But yeah, the thing I love about this game though is that I played through Summit and I played Core and I looked at B-sides and every time I thought man, this is the last kind of challenge that I do, and then I was unlocking C-sides and going, oh wow, okay, we can look at 1C. Ooh, that was pretty tough. We'll see what we can do, but I'm probably not gonna finish all of them. And then 2 days later, I'm sitting there with 5k deaths on 8C or something like that.
Yeah.
And just I gotta get this. And then what? Golden berries? Oh, I'll do 1A and 2A, but it's everything else is just stupid. And then here I sit with 201 berries and looking at and then you go further. I just 201, but farewell. I will never do farewell. And then you start doing farewell attempts because you're it's the last one. The game keeps egging you on. That's great.
It really does. Each little next step feels doable. If you look at when you look at farewell golden, absolutely not. But maybe 5A golden. Okay, I did 5A gold. Can I do 6A gold? And it just everything makes you a little bit better, so you feel ready to tackle the next challenge. The ironic thing about golden berries is once they unlock and you do 1A and 2A, the next easiest thing is the C-sides. Because if you can beat them once, you can beat them deathless. They're short.
Yep. And then I think it's 3A took me so long. I think it was one of the last I did 3A and then I went to 6A, 7A, and 7A
did-
wasn't even that bad.
I did 6A before 3A.
I'm almost sure I did as well. It was roughly in that order. Yeah, but like 3B, 5A, 5B, all of that before 3A, because it's just so long.
I thought I'd probably stop after like 1A, 2A, and the Seasides, and then during a very early any percent run, I did Ridge Deathless and was like, wait, what? I can
Yeah.
do that?
I put down the game after finishing all the Seasides, and like Farewell hadn't come out, and so I played 1A and 2A Deathless, and then I was like, that's it. Anything else is crazy. And then I got bored, and I knew about speedrunning, so I was like, how quickly can I actually do this? And it turns out like 1 hour 40 to get the summit. And then I started speedrunning, and at that point it was like, maybe it's time for Goldens again. I'm kind of burned out on speedrunning. We can do this.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that the game always presents you with opportunities you can go find those collectibles you missed, or you can work on golden berries, or you can do speed running and get fast, and there's always something interesting to do. And then there's that journal taunting you with your total grand file time. You're like, I could be a little bit faster at this chapter.
True,
Play that a little
that as
bit.
well, yeah. It's like my main file needs to have at least a decent representation of my speedrun times, yeah.
Oh, mods. I didn't think I was ever going to play mods. I was playing on Switch at first, so it wasn't even possible. And then
Do you want to guess what the first mod that I played was?
Ooh, something way too hard to be your first mod?
Yep, I played Monica's D-Side as
Monica's
the first mod.
D-Sides.
And
Because that's,
I was trucking through it. Like, it took me so long. But I think in the end, it's hard to say. I think it was quite a bit of time. But I got through everything. But Farewell, like D-Side was, I think it took me like 50 to 100 hours to get to the final room. And then on top of that, still like 150 hours or something.
I'd be shocked if I could beat a screen of 90. It is just way above my skill ceiling.
It was a lot of just looking at like a task clear that was uploaded and someone who had uploaded the gameplay. I had no idea how to beat these rooms. And if I like beat my head against it for a while, then I would just like pick up the guide and be like, okay, what do you do here? And you learn a lot about the mechanics actually. Yeah, so that actually opened up a lot in terms of like mechanical knowledge and skill.
I think the state, this is not what we're supposed to be talking about, but while we're still, I think Bingo is coming soon, people. Thanks for hanging around and being patient with us during this extended intermission. But I think the state of Celeste mods as we head into 2023 is fantastic right now. I mean, we have a set of excellent big collabs, Spring Collab 2020. There's the recently released Flush-A-Line collab I haven't even touched yet. Strawberry Jam is waiting out there somewhere, and then there's just a bunch of individual mappers who are doing killer work, like Corey D with Mindcrack, and just, you know, Monica's D-Sides. We've had Arfie's D-Sides come out about a year or so ago, which is kind of a pack somewhere between vanilla difficulty and Monica's D-Sides, so there is just an endless amount of content. I doubt anybody has played all of the mods because they just keep on coming, and the quality is so good.
Yeah, the only thing for me is that like some of the modded mechanics don't sit so well with me, so it's hard to find rooms that just provide vanilla gameplay but with a step up in difficulty.
It's kind of the double-edged sword, because you to be a super successful mod, you've got to do something creative. You can't just repackage vanilla assets, which is kind of what got me out of it. Like I started to mod a little bit, but I'm not like coding anything new. I was just trying to make sort of interesting twists on combinations of mechanics. But I mean, the really high level stuff like Glyph, you know, that's maybe everybody's. If you polled everyone and said, what is your favorite mod? Glyph probably edges out other screens for the win. And
ironically,
it's so
I wouldn't actually say the D-Sides are my favorite mod, just because
that would definitely be up there.
Sink my teeth into, but
For
Glyph,
sure.
Glyph was really well made and had some yeah, had a lot of difficulty, but nothing too crazy.
And it felt very fresh between the assets and the sort of teleporting gameplay, switching screens back and forth. It felt new and very creative, and had, you know, well-placed berries if you want to go, you know, collectibles route, or really good speed gameplay if you just want to do any percent. Glyph is great. No complaints.
Yeah. One of my most like anticipated mods that unfortunately aren't fully completed is the Secret of Celeste Mountain, which is just doing like a Metroid-inspired Celeste campaign, and it's just it's so well done.
I
It's
played that
incredible.
up to, I think, the first sort of boss fight, and I really enjoyed it, but never did go back and finish it.
I think. Oh no, wait. The first boss fight. It's close to the end of the current content that we have, I think, but yeah, like there's so much in there with like the map and the power-ups and everything, how it's done. The atmosphere is really, really good.
I will shout out another mod map that's one of my favorites, Cat Isle. Who doesn't love Cat Isle? Who doesn't love petting 12 cats in the Celeste video game?
I had some fun with Dark Moon Ruins recently, but
Oof,
only
you want
at
to talk
the
about a
point where the
level that's above
difficulty-
my skill cap? Jeez.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't finished it. By far not. I think I played maybe a couple of checkpoints or something until it got unreasonably difficult for me as well. But what I saw before that was really, really well balanced difficulty without, too much custom mechanics in that sense.
Yes, Pocket, this is now a what is your favorite mod stream. Of course, Into the Jungle. Maybe the best sort of like Celeste 2 type mod. It's like it's a totally unique campaign with new mechanics, 5 chapters, just B-sides, really well done. Oh, and Quickie Mountain 2. Huge fan of Quickie Mountain 2. Short little levels based on Super Mario World Kaizo, made by Frozen Flygon and Bean Jam, and that's a great set. Dashless with skateboards? Yo, I'm not familiar with this one.
I haven't heard of that one either.
Oh, Cryoshock had snowboards, right? That's another one that I don't see get talked about very much, but Ezel has a map called Sunset Rise that is all dashless, and you'd think that an all dashless map would get boring, and you would be wrong. It is really cool and uses a bunch of different creative mechanics in lieu of dashing, and is so fun. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, like the bubbles that can give you hyper momentum and stuff like that. I played Dashless Summit as well, which was also quite enjoyable.
This is now a podcast.
Essentially, yes.